Louisiana Legends is made possible by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana. This important program series enables us to discover, through the accomplishments of our fellow Louisianians, the unique character of a state so proudly served by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana for 60 years.
I've been hosting Louisiana Legends for some 17 years. And in that time, you can imagine the number of resumes I've had in my hand as I prepared for this program. I have never had a resume like today's guest. His name is Bill Conti. And I'll just give you a brief run through because there's not enough time even in a marathon to give you all of this man's remarkable accomplishments. I've never seen anything like them. Oscar and four-time Emmy Award winner, has sold in excess of 8 million albums, is a world-class conductor of leading symphony orchestra, and last but not least, no, not last, I'm only kidding, he's got one of those stars in the sidewalk in Hollywood. What kind of a feeling must that be? We'll find out. He, among his little contributions, remember that song that Sheena Easton sang, For Your Eyes Only, in the James Bond movies? He composed it. And you might remember one other little minor work that he composed, the Rocky theme, which is, I guess that's become a part of Americana. At any rate, Bill, welcome back to Louisiana.
It's great to come back here, and I invent some of that stuff, you know. I'm only kidding. just kidding. I
don't believe any of this is invented. Bill, you attended LSU. How did you happen to go to LSU?
Well, I reluctantly will admit that I graduated high school in 1959 while living in Miami, Florida.
Yes, sir.
And the orchestra teacher, the music teacher in high school said, you know, you play piano very well. But when you go for a scholarship, there's, you know, it's a tough road out there. A lot of people really play the piano. But if you played a double reed instrument, boy, you could get a scholarship. So I immediately began practicing the bassoon. This is a double reed instrument. I practiced, and then at the end of the senior year, I auditioned for 3 schools, University of Miami, Louisiana State, and Indiana State. Well, I got the 3 offers of scholarship, but I was thinking, Miami is like staying at home. They have snow in Indiana. Now, I was born in Providence, Rhode Island. I know all about snow.
You really know something about snow.
And you got to keep in mind that the 3 music schools, of course, were fine music schools. So I said, I'm going to Louisiana State University. Well, Miami was like staying at home. The other one was snow. Came up, drove up here, ended up in North Stadium for the first semester, ended up in Chime Street, the Chime Street ghetto. But came in 59, graduated in 63, and left with a Baton Rouge woman.
How did you like LSU?
I loved LSU.
How'd you like Louisiana when you came
Could you
in?
imagine, in 59, graduated in 59, so it was still 59. In 58, Louisiana State was national champions. Now, if you've never been around in the fall to see the quiet, sophisticated, and elegant way the sport is maintained, it is incredible. I mean, you know, so here you are, I'm 17 years old, and Billy Cannon has just got the highest men and stuff like that. It was a madness of a fall.
You have landed in paradise.
It was like incredible, just incredible. So I loved it from the beginning.
I also lived in the stadium on the 5th floor.
There you go.
Yeah. At any rate, you met a young lady there.
She was a graduate of Baton Rouge High. Name was Shelby Francis Cox. We met. She was one of the ballet corps members, one of those people that take off their capes and dance at the halftime shows. And of course, I was in the band. I had to be in the band. We met. We were about 19 at the time. I was like a junior. We met for 2 years in Louisiana. I went away to Juilliard for 2 years. Meanwhile, she finished and graduated. We got married, and I refer to her as my first wife. because she is my first wife, and we've been married 34 years.
Which is some accomplishment,
Well,
particularly in our times.
Where I live, in Los Angeles, I always say...
You must be one of a kind.
There are a few of us, but there are some. I actually ran with the crowd that Henry Mancini was married for over 45 years
Really?
to his wife. David Rose was married 35 years. Pete Rugel. Of these people, we found 5 of us that we had been married like forever. However, there were people that we knew that had 5 wives, 6 wives,
of course,
and husbands. But my relationship has ended up to be heaven. Just what one could ask for.
Isn't that lovely?
When it happens,
you
it's wonderful.
you hear men or women, for that matter, say so seldom. So that's
a good thing.
lovely. Sir, you went to Juilliard.
Yes, I did.
And what were your plans? What were you going to be?
Well, look, fear.
Some kind of musician,
yeah,
obviously.
When you're a young person, and at least I had the fortune of knowing that music was what I wanted to do.
Yes.
Now, some people kind of flounder around and kind of find it. Well, mine had to be in music. However, after getting the master's at Juilliard, what do you do? Well, you know, you could, I don't know what you could do, but I had a teacher who was going to Rome, Italy, to become the composer in residence at the American Academy in Rome. And he offhandedly said, Bill, why don't you come and visit your roots? So I sold the car. I bought 2 one-way tickets. When I came home that night, Shelby said, oh, where'd you park the car? You know, in New York, the car's always on the street someplace. I says, I sold the car. We're going to go live in Italy. So with 22 hand-carrying suitcases and a little silly French poodle that she had, we were just married 2 years. We went on a boat. We slept in very poor accommodations. The 3rd night out, meaning in Rome, I had $200, didn't have the return fare, but because I could play piano, I went up and down the Veneto. I found a job. For 2 years, I made $5 a night. We didn't have a refrigerator. We didn't have a car. Eventually, both of my daughters were born there. A wonderful life as young married people, to young married people with children, in a country that was just wonderful to be poor in. Just wonderful to be poor in. And eventually, I'm telling you the whole story, but eventually came back to live in Los Angeles. But the beginning was an adventure.
Bill, when did it strike you? Because this is such a unique art, this art of composing. We're not talking now about putting a spike in a hole. We're talking about this almost abstract something wherein you hear something, it doesn't exist, and suddenly the world is humming it.
But wait. You got to know one thing, that all my life I have studied and pursued the language of music. Now, if you speak French, like I speak Italian, you don't translate from English to Italian. You've learned the language and you just speak it. Well, if you study music and you learn the language of music, that language is, for a composer, how I convert my emotions, because music is anti-intellectual. You don't think about music. You simply say, it feels good, I like it, I don't like it. Well, when people on the screen say, I love you, well, I've felt that way. I convert I love you into the language
to you.
Right.
Music.
And because, like, say yesterday you said to me, I had a headache. Well, I don't have to have a headache today to know what you felt like, because in our humanness, I get it. So when I felt I love you, or I want to go punch someone in the face, Rocky running up the stairs, that's how I feel about it. Because maybe you might have those same feelings that music conveys to you. But I just speak the language of music.
Sir, was there any background in your family musical?
All the background in my family was music.
Really?
My grandfather was a musician. My mother played. My father was a musician. I ended up getting 2 bachelor's degrees, a master's degree, and a doctorate in music, but my wife thought I majored in hunger and poverty until Rocky came out. Because you need a hit.
Was Rocky the hit?
Yes, you need a hit.
Now, that theme, how does a man, how long did it take you? How long for...
Well, first of all, the whole film took 3 weeks. It was a 3-week schedule to do the film. But that moment when he's training, the director said to me, Bill, I need about a minute's worth of music to cut together the film. It's easier to cut film, action film, to music, because there's a rhythm, there's a pace, there's a tempo. He says, give me a minute's worth of music so I can cut this footage of Sly training. I gave him a minute. Then he came back, he says, you know, I got this other thing. Give me another 30 seconds. I gave him another 30 seconds. We did this all the way up until 3 minutes. So Rocky, the Going to Fly Now, I didn't sit down and say, oh, let's write a hit tune now. No, I gave him a minute to cut this footage together. And then another 30, and another 30. In the end, there was 3 minutes of music, and he said, the director, can't we say something when he's on top of the stairs? It looks like he's going to fly now. I says, we can hire lyricists and say, write me something.
And that's how?
Well, that's how that happened, yeah. It's never intentional the way some people think that you sit down and, oh, no, I will. Well, maybe.
And how about the James Bond song?
Well, the James Bond song, you know, each Bond picture has a song connected with it, and you must use the name of the picture in the title. Yes, so all these James Bond movies has the name of the movie in the title of the song. That's the prerequisite. So I had written a song that ended with this lyricist. You need a lyricist. I don't write the music, the lyrics, I write the music. So this lyricist had said, I would do this, I do this, I do that, I do that, and I do it for your eyes only at the end. And then I had a meeting with the man who did those great James Bond titles.
Yes.
And he says, you know, Bill, I hate it when the name of the film comes on and the title doesn't match at the same time. Now, I had one that ended for your eyes only. I says, you know, wouldn't it be great if the title of the movie came on and the name, and they were singing the title at the same time. So I'm back to the lyricist. I says, listen, you, we're going to write another tune. It's going to begin for your eyes only. I don't care what you say after that. So then we wrote the song.
Just about, I must tell you, just about unbelievable. If you were not Bill Conti, it would be unbelievable.
Oh, thank you.
So, okay, you're a world-class composer now. How did the conducting, when did that, because you do the Boston Pops, the Cleveland Orchestra, orchestras all over the world. You're considered a world-class conductor. How did that happen?
Well, you kind of begin in college, in school, you learn conducting, the elementary things of conducting, and then when you go into the recording studio to record your music, generally you conduct your own music. And it was something that for some reason I really took to, and then I conducted the Academy Award show in 1977, and the adrenaline and the idea of having all these musicians and singers and maybe something could go wrong, I began getting much more involved in conducting. I mean, just as a sidelight on that show, when they have the 5 nominees, there's 60 people, musicians and myself, we don't know who the winner will be, so there's 5 different pieces of music. They say, the winner is, and each film has a theme connected with it. So if they say, the winner is Out of Africa, the orchestra goes, Out of Africa. But that meant that they scanned 5 different pieces of music. Those people found it, I found it, their eyes looked up, and we began playing.
Is there any sensation comparable to conducting a great orchestra?
Well, no. It's that,
I wouldn't think so
Well,
either.
it's that power.
Yeah.
I am the man. You know what I mean? And they are playing, and you're directing their souls, their passions into the way you want that music to go.
When you hit a town to conduct an orchestra, Cleveland,
Baton Rouge,
Louisiana, how hard is it to, in a relatively brief time, implant Bill Conti's vision and musicality and forgive me for this word, and genius on a bunch of strangers who you do not know?
But what we have in common, again, is this language of music, right? And as the leader of the orchestra, any leader should be able to say, from the leader of your country to any leader anywhere, his 2 words should only be, follow me. And have that be inspirational to the people who are supposed to follow them into battle, or in my case, just to make a piece of music. But I'd like you to do it my way. And because we speak the same language, and I have the ability to convey what I want to them, then we don't seem to have a problem.
Do you normally get to choose that which you will conduct the music?
When I travel out?
Yes, sir.
I will only conduct if I pick the music. Because I'm not doing this for a living.
No.
In other words, I write. Now, you want me to come to Baton Rouge and conduct an evening of the Beatles music. I'm sorry, I'm not coming. I just can't come. I'd like to do Rodgers and Hammerstein. No, I'm sorry. I picked the program. Why? Because I love to come, and I love to be a part of it, but it's going to feel like work to me if I'm going to do Perry Como's hits, no, there's nothing wrong with Perry Como's hits or the Beatles or anyone else, but if I'm going to conduct, and I don't do just my music, but it's the music that I really love being involved with.
What an experience, my goodness. And then there is that little Matt. I want to read something to our friends. During the 1983-84 television season, Bill Conti set an all-time industry record for having composed the themes for 5 television series playing concurrently in prime time. But in 86 and 87, the number increased to 9. And I'm going to give you the names of them because I'm sure people are looking at us like we're both lying. Dynasty, Falcon Crest, Cagney and Lacey, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, O'Hara, the Colbys, Our World, Business Week, and Mariah.
I will open an Albertsons market around the corner. Meaning to say, when my phone rings, because I am a composer that writes for a living, this is what I do, so these television shows, not through my, anything I had to do with it, but they were on the air at the same time. So that was like an accident. But I do that. I write music.
Is it a thrill for you when you conduct, or you hear someone else conducting one of your songs? That must be a special feeling, and an audience response.
Well, yes. That is special to know that the communication that you were going for, the idea of me trying to get some of my emotions out and have someone share it with someone, because that's what it is. It's just sharing it with it. And when they enjoy it, I go, oh, you know, because I'm in that kind of emotional place that's what I'm doing it for. I know I get paid, but you got to forget that, because even on the screen when they say go get him, well, I got to feel like, what would I be feeling like going getting him, or I love you. So when I write that kind of music, and if it affects someone, after Rocky, the people that wrote letters about what it did to help them get through the day and stuff like that. I mean, I don't have that reaction to that song. I have a reaction to the people. There was a lady who worked in a nurse who worked in an emergency ward, and she says, when I come home at night, I put that music on and I feel, so I turned to my wife, I said, well, I don't know what I do, because it doesn't do that for me. I mean, I wrote the piece and I don't find it, that's in the past for me, but I was really appreciative of the people that have been affected by the music.
Pretty hard to place beauty in the past, though. It kind of lives on, you know, and particularly the ability to inspire, to lift someone's spirits.
If you can do that, then you should be very happy.
What's the difference in writing for the small screen, television, and for the movie screen?
Time and money. Meaning, in a movie, it's a long form. They actually say, they're saying, once upon a time, I'm going to tell you the story, right? So you go in, it's going to take its time. Television, they're flipping the channels. When I get involved with the themes. So if Dynasty wasn't on the air, the first time you hear that, well, it might be interesting enough to stay around and listen. You got about a minute to try to hook someone's attention. The American Gladiator. What is this? Here's something a little bit different. So it's really immediate. It's not once upon a time. So you have to be in your face to convey the message of that show right away. You don't have to do that in the movies. And of course, they give you less time to write it in, and less money.
And less money also.
It's okay.
Bill, for example, what are your working hours for composing?
The deadline, I must admit. I mean, yes, it would be nice to say I get up, sit by the pool a while, have a cappuccino. But when the show is opening on this date in 2,000 theaters, or I did a thing for HBO called Winchell, and it was being advertised on the air, on the whatever it was. Well, that's what, now, are you behind or are you ahead? So usually behind. So you're writing up until the deadline. It's not, I don't work through the night anymore because I'm not that young anymore. I'll work.
Or hungry.
Or hungry, by the way. But yeah, but the deadline is precious. In other words, you don't say I'm going to do it and then not really do it.
A pro really never misses.
No, you can't do that.
That may be the definition of a professional.
Oh, you got to be there. So I get up early in the morning and I write until I can't write anymore, and then I go to sleep.
Do you ever go blank?
Never. Cannot afford that. For a professional writer. Now, I'm not talking about, has inspiration visited me? Yes. Was it wonderful? It was like an affair. It was like, incredible. However, I get paid to turn it out. And I hope I'm good enough that you don't know when I'm having a bad day.
Are you ever dissatisfied with your product?
Well, sometimes, yeah.
You are?
Yeah, I'm not going to tell people about it.
Don't.
But I'm saying, sometimes I say, I wish I had more time to do that. Or, didn't happen this time.
Bill, how much in advance might you get the contract to write a score for a motion picture?
Could be 6 weeks. It could be 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Could be 2 weeks. It depends on their schedule. In other words, say they're going to open up April 1st. And say they hired a composer, and then now he's done the music, but they don't like it now. Well, their schedule hasn't changed. Now they have to hire another composer. Well, I was about to go on vacation with my wife and daughters once the phone rang, and that was the situation that happened. The film was done, it had an opening date, and they didn't like the music they had. Can you do the music now, in the next 2 weeks? And it was the right stuff. So if I'd have said no, I wouldn't have won an Academy Award.
Isn't that interesting?
So you said to your wife and children, I'm sorry, I have to do this now. And you did it as fast as you could.
Do the girls, are they musically talented?
They're musically talented, however, they've chosen other professions. My eldest is a doctor of psychology.
Wow.
And just got her doctorate this past June. And the other graduated from USC in languages and literature, but then wanted to go cooking, so she went to a cooking school for culinary arts for 2 years, and now she's going to do something else.
How much are you on the road, Bill?
There are peak periods in my life in terms of on the road, because you don't get to pick when they're going to call you. 2 weeks ago, I was in Atlanta for doing 5 concerts with the Atlanta Symphony. Last week, I was in Miami with the New World Symphony. This week I'm with the Baton Rouge Symphony. Next week I'm with the Knoxville Symphony. Then I do the Academy Award show. Then I do the Tampa Symphony. Now, that's a period of time that beats you up because I'm doing a movie, the Academy Award show, and I'm out of town every week. But maybe, come May, I won't do anything. I'll ride my bike.
What do you do for relaxation?
Well, I have a Harley Davidson.
Do you really?
And my last trip was up California, Oregon, Washington, ferry to Vancouver Island, ferry to Vancouver, to Kamloops, up to Jasper. Coming down Jasper into Calgary, it started a snowstorm. I drove into a Harley Davidson dealer with guys with bones in their noses and earrings and tattoos. And I says, would you ship this bike to Bartels in Los Angeles and give me a ride to the airport, please? And I flew home.
And you flew home.
Yeah.
So, friends, when you see a gray-haired man on a Harley, for God's sakes, be careful. It made me Bill Conti.
That's right.
And how long will you go on composing in this furious schedule, which you obviously observe?
Well, I say that I'm not going to pursue anything anymore, but I will answer my phone. So if my phone is ringing, I will answer it. But I really am looking forward to the spaces where you can actually enjoy and relax. Not that I don't enjoy what I'm doing, but I could have some free time soon.
Do you think you'll ever retire?
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, I have some doubts, I've got to tell you, because it's very hard to bottle and shut down loveliness and beauty when you're full of it and have that incredible ability to let the world have a shot at it.
Well, when I'm tired, like I am now, then I say, well, I'm going to be retiring in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But when I get a good night's rest, then maybe, I don't know. I can't answer that.
It must be a strange feeling to come back to Baton Rouge. This, after all, is kind of home. And the Baton Rouge Symphony.
Yeah. I went to eat last night, and I saw Chime Street, West Chimes.
Oh,
I was in the ghetto at Chime Street, and Louis' Cafe, and all those little memories that brings back a lot, yeah.
Doesn't it?
It's a good feeling, yeah.
I think that this is a lovely state with probably the kindest, warmest people. And obviously you feel that way.
I certainly do. I think probably the idea of being an Italian Catholic, even though from the Northeast, when I came into southern Louisiana, and the cuisine, in other words, that Italian food, you could have been in Augusta, Georgia, which is a lovely town. but I just came from Phil's. And I got to tell you,
wonderful.
I came from Phil's, and Margaret had everything that I wanted to have. You know what I'm saying?
What a glorious ending. I can't think of any way we can top that. Bill, on behalf of the 4-point-something million Louisianians, we are so proud of you and being a part of us and coming home and more beautiful music out of Bill Conti.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
nice
sir.
to know you.
Thank you, Bill.
Louisiana Legends is made possible by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana. This important program series enables us to discover, through the accomplishments of our fellow Louisianians, the unique character of a state so proudly served by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana for 60 years.
For a copy of this program, call 1-800-973-7246 or send $19.95 to Louisiana Legends, care of LPB, 7733 Perkins Road, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 70810. Please allow 4 to 6 weeks for delivery.